The quirks and challenges of being Canadian. Being Canadian might seem idyllic from the outside, but insiders and their neighbors see it as a cocktail of politeness gone too far, brutal winters, and a national identity crisis fueled by constant comparisons to the US. While Canadians love to distinguish themselves from Americans, the rest of the world often can't tell the difference, except for the fact that Canadians will apologize for being mistaken. The relentless politeness is a global punchline, with people joking that a Canadian would apologize if you stole their wallet. This obsession with being nice often leads to passive aggressiveness disguised as friendliness, where "sorry, but I think you might have made a little mistake" is actually Canadian for "you've absolutely ruined everything." Canada's weather is another source of ridicule, as half the country is buried under snow for 6 months of the year, and residents somehow call it mild if it's only -10 degrees Celsius. People laugh at Canadians for wearing shorts as soon as it hits 5 degrees Celsius, as if frostbite builds character. The rest of the year is a guessing game of rain, mosquitoes, and the occasional heat wave that barely qualifies as warm weather in other countries. While outsiders think of Canada as a pristine natural wonderland, actual Canadians are too busy swatting away clouds of black flies and avoiding moose in the road to notice. Wildlife encounters are romanticized in tourism ads, but in reality it's more like "bear on my porch again, guess I'll be late for work." Culturally, Canada is often seen as America's shy little sibling, desperate to be seen as distinct, but unable to fully escape America's shadow. The Canadian entertainment industry is basically a talent pipeline to Hollywood, as most Canadian celebrities only make it by moving south. Canadians claim pride in their cultural exports like maple syrup, hockey, and Ryan Reynolds, but if you ask them to name a uniquely Canadian TV show, they'll probably mutter something about Degrassi and change the subject. Then there's Tim Hortons, the sacred national institution known for its mediocre coffee and suspiciously addictive Timbits, yet somehow Canadians will defend it like it's fine dining. And don't even mention poutine. Fries, cheese curds, and gravy might sound like a cry for help, but in Canada, it's practically haute cuisine. Politically, Canada loves to act like the chill neighbor to the US, but scratch the surface and you'll find plenty of dysfunction. The healthcare system, often touted as superior to the US, is mocked for its comically long wait times, where universal healthcare sometimes means "we'll see you in 6 months if you're still alive." The government prides itself on being progressive, but it's constantly getting dragged for not living up to its promises on Indigenous rights, climate change, and affordable housing. Canadians love to claim they're more enlightened than Americans, but they're also the first to riot when their hockey team loses, flipping over cars while draped in the national flag like it's some kind of medieval battle. Then there's the linguistic chaos of Quebec, where French Canadians insist on being different by refusing to speak English and demanding that cereal boxes be bilingual. Outside Quebec, most Canadians can barely order a croissant in French, but they'll still flex their bilingual credentials whenever it's convenient. Quebec separatism is a running joke worldwide, as every few years Quebec threatens to leave Canada, only to stay like a roommate who keeps packing their bags but never moves out. Canadians also get laughed at for their obsession with hockey, which is less of a sport and more of a full-blown religion. People joke that Canadian babies are born wearing skates, and if you ask a Canadian who the Prime Minister is, they might hesitate. But ask them to name their team's backup goalie, and they'll rattle off stats like a sports commentator. On top of all this, Canadians have to deal with their own bizarre vocabulary, calling beanies toque, insisting that milk belongs in bags, and saying "eh" at the end of every sentence like it's a mandatory punctuation mark. The metric system is also a point of confusion. They measure temperature in Celsius but still use feet and pounds, because why not? Internationally, Canada is often seen as too nice to be taken seriously, playing peacekeeper on the global stage, but rarely being a major player. In the end, Canada is the friend who's always there to help you move, offers you snacks you didn't ask for, and says sorry even when you step on their foot. It's wholesome, yes, but also a little sad. And that's why, for many outsiders, being Canadian is seen as a lifetime sentence of politeness, cold weather, and waiting for summer that never truly arrives.